Hi Dennis, how are things?
Good, thanks.
I suppose just to kick things off, a general kind of squad update. Any bumps and bruises, any doubts for this weekend after the Welsh game?
There's been with the short turnaround. There's been a few knocks and bruises, and coming up to the end of the tournament. So we probably managed a few girls this week, but none to kind of be of significant anyway at the moment. So, like I said, we managed it quite well with them and limited their on-pitch stuff, certain ones, but we should be all good for the weekend.
Neva Dowd missed the game at the weekend. Is she back on deck this week?
Yeah, so she's back into it now, which is great, and she had a good training session today, so she's back online for us, which is great.
And is Baben Parsons available this week, or has this kind of game just come a little bit too early for her?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just with the return to contact, it probably came too soon for her. So she trained with us and she has been doing, but there's still contact elements which she's been out of. So it probably just came a bit too soon for her. So she's still on that return to play bit.
Yeah, I imagine given what she's been through in the last 12 months, the last thing you want to do is rush her back in.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of managing that was really, really important for her, and to probably get her confidence back up to, especially around the contact area, you know. So, but I think overall, I think we've had really, really good options as well in that. And I think giving minutes to Vicky, that has given us the opportunity to give minutes to Vicky. And obviously he's done really well for us as well. So it's getting competitive in that area now.
Short turnaround, just like the 6-day turnaround coming into this Saturday. What has that limited you this week in terms of training?
Yeah, it's probably nearly 1 day less for us in terms of what we can get across. So on the Monday we kind of turned the page and focused on Scotland, did a small bit of a review, but a lot of walkthroughs and a lot of clarity pieces that we wanted to get through from a Scotland perspective and what they kind of present. And then today was about kind of putting it on pitch for us. So and then focusing on what we're actually going to bring for the game. So shorter, but we kind of knew it was coming up. So the girls were very focused from the Tuesday on.
And because it's the last game of a long block, does it matter a little bit less? Like, are players just naturally a bit more energised to sign off one big game?
No, I think when you look at it in May, there's no games for them, so every game counts for them, and building the depth within the squad and making sure that we actually finish on a high and go straight into a World Cup campaign in a good place. And I think that's been the real focus. But equally, probably off the back of a slight frustration from last week, they want to make sure we finish on a massive high this weekend.
And just finally then, what were the slight frustrations from last week from the coach's point of view?
I think overall probably would have been the 22 errors where we just handed back the ball to Wales, you know. So it's that was quite frustrating for us, and equally for the players. They were very frustrated around that, and I think that kind of shows the growth of where they're at now, and they know what they can deliver on pitch, and it's, you know, we put them under pressure quite a lot in training during the week, and you know, it just for some reason sometimes it just doesn't come off during the game. So it's good that they were like that. You know, I suppose the coaches are always going to be slightly frustrated, but the players were also, you know, they wanted to make sure and get into this week and put it right.
And just finally then, actually, last year you bleached your hair as a promise after. Was it after finishing third in the Six Nations?
I am not bleaching my hair again.
I can't remember now.
I did.
It was either the Six Nations or the WX.
Yes.
Have you any promises lined up for a win this weekend?
I have absolutely no promises ever. No, I've been asked about 10 times from the girls as well what they can do to me, and I was there. I'm not a toy. You're not. I'm not doing anything else now for you. That bleached hair was enough. It took me 4 months to grow it out, but no. It was a nice piece to do, and I'm glad we came third. But yeah, bleaching was tough. But anyway, yeah, that's it. No worries.
Statistically, Dennis, obviously there's 15 out of 17 games won by Ireland, but the last game they lost in a high was always huge pressure going over to Scotland, and again being the last round, they must be exhausted.
Yeah, they are, and they're not really exhausted. I think they're energised by, you know, like I said, of making sure we finish on a high. We know it's always really, really tricky over in Scotland, and they're very much aware of that. But also kind of put pressure on us to make sure we manage the week really well for the girls, you know. So giving them the off time on the Monday, and literally being, you know, walkthroughs on a Tuesday, and a kind of a short enough session, but making sure that we got across what we needed to get across. So the girls, I think, will go into it really, really fresh and really kind of going to go.
How do you keep them fresh in that sense in terms of obviously physically we know what they do, but even like mentally as well, because it is, you know, it's a long tournament.
Yeah, stuff like bleaching my hair now would be, is one part of it where, you know, I suppose breaking up the week, having a bit of, you know, making sure that they get a bit of downtime, having a bit of fun. And they do that quite well. They have a good a kind of a social group within that. So when they get out of here and off the pitch, they have a good group of making sure they've, you know, they go off and they'll have their coffees or they'll, you know, do games and they do certain things back in the hotel, and they've been really, really active in that, and that's also would be driven from our side. So it's they're in a really good place, to be fair to them.
Of course, great stats as well. I mean, Aoife Wade, one of the top try scorers, got Neve Jones, most tackles for front rower. So, you know, it's a really good place for them coming into the final round.
Yeah, you know, and they keep growing on that, which is great. And I think as well, you have other players as well, like Dorothy Wall, who had a brilliant game last weekend, and she's growing into that over the Six Nations and getting better and better. So it's, you know, there's a lot of girls have put their hands up, and it's making, I suppose, from a coach's point of view, making our job a lot harder and harder as the season goes on, you know, so it's which is really positive.